bring to you. We brought in Maddy Skyeline. We brought in Maddy Skyeline.
It is time for Maddy Skyeline. Maddy Skye, the food and culture editor of the San Antonio Express News, joining us here on the Blitz. I'm Jason Minnix. He is Joe Reinagel. Joe, meet Maddy. We're actually in studio, and she's in her kitchen.
Well, hey, Maddy.
And he's trying to clean stuff up. Oh, that's all. What was that garment hanging on there? Right? Get that out of there. There you are. All right, we couldn't hear you for a minute. Welcome in, Maddy.
Hey, guys. Hey, Joe. Congratulations. I just heard the news, A, that you're joining, and then B, your very storied career at Ken's 5.
Well, thank you.
I don't know if you remembered that I worked with you at Ken's 5 back in like 2014, I think.
I do remember that. I do.
No, you don't.
No, I actually
you can say no.
Dude, no, 2014. I mean, it wasn't that long ago.
Well, that's the last time the Spurs won a championship. Feels like forever.
I know, right?
Yeah,
but
it was a good year.
Well, I tell you what, this year has started out with a bang, that's for sure. And so I'm very excited and just looking forward to see what happens next.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Well, you know, what's great is that you're happening next, and that's a good thing.
Well,
so it just keeps getting better.
Well, that's it. And there's so much to talk about. Now, Maddy, you've got a lot of different stories going on mysa.com, including about Joe Reinegel's retirement and joining the Blitz, which, should probably be pinned to the top of the page. But, I'm not the food and culture editor. But there are a couple of scary stories. The one about these fake COVID testing sites, to me, that's scarier than the parking scan to pay to park, and you realize that's not real either.
Wait, that's not real either?
Well, sometimes they might not be. You might be thinking you're paying to park and realize you're not.
Who have I been paying? And then so you pay, then you get your car towed? Is that what happens?
Pretty much,
yeah.
But Pledger's living well off of that little scam, so it's working out pretty good.
Oh my goodness, I had not heard of that. Now I'm going to be very skeptical. But
You should be.
So there have been, it's been happening across the country, fraudulent or kind of sketchy testing locations. And the scary thing is nobody really knows where that information goes. But the biggest tip is, you shouldn't be giving away any personal information like social security numbers. You should be looking out to see if there are logos on any of the paperwork. You shouldn't have to pay for a testing site, like one of those pop-up testing sites. So I actually thought that I had encountered one right before New Year's Eve, but it turns out it wasn't, because it seemed a little off. But I did get my results eventually, and it was legitimate. But that kind of got my wheels turning, because I'd been telling friends, like, hey, they promised me my results by this day, and it's been days, like 5 days, and I still haven't gotten my results. And my friends were telling me that they had seen reports of these kind of rogue testing sites. And then I did my research, and there had been some in Chicago, Florida, any big major city. And I reached out to Metro Health, and they said, yeah, they had seen the same reports, and they shared a few tips on how to avoid them or what to do when you do think that you're at one. But the tried and true sites are all vetted and are on the COVID-19 website provided by the San Antonio local government. It's COVID-19 sanantonio.gov, I believe. It's on my story. But that list is like a trusted and vetted compilation of sites that you can go to. Of course, right now, everything's kind of backlogged because of Omicron and the surge. Yep. But if you think, obviously, that you have COVID, or you should, just wait until you get your results and stay at home if you can, or you should stay at home for those 5 days, 10 days. It's all very confusing.
It really is. So, Maddy, what's a typical, you said you had to wait and you were worried about it. What is a typical wait for a result for something like that?
Right. So usually all throughout these past, I believe it's been 2 years, but throughout these 2 years, I usually go to curative. And that wait, when you're not in the surge, is usually like a day, 2 days the most. So when I was waiting for my test from the original site, I finally got one with curative too. And so curative actually got me my results within those 5 days that I was waiting for the first place that I went to, if that makes sense. So I think at the most, in the surge, when I went to go swab my nose, they told me that you could wait up to 3 days. But I ended up getting my results in like a day and a half still. So
it's interesting because generally 24 to 48 is what they've said, but the labs are so backed up because these testing sites and the people waiting in their cars
everywhere
for hours. I know there's one like 1604 near Stone Oak. I thought, man, what's going on over there at Torchy's? The line's forever. No, it's just going to something. I was leaving the radio station and I thought there was a funeral procession going into Sunset Funeral Home right there on Austin Highway. Turns out those were all people waiting to get tested.
Wow.
But the line was so long. I was like, man, I wonder who passed that. I mean, because this guy must be popular. I mean, this should be in the news. Then you realize that's for the testing, which is just insane. Maddy Skye from the Express News joining us here on the Blitz as she does every Wednesday to tell us about all the different happenings in San Antonio, getting us caught up. And there is a place probably more for Reinagel than for me that's about to open up. It says Dress to Impress Bar. What's the newest place I will never find myself in?
It's called Conversa, and they are promising, as the name implies, good conversation, cocktails, and it's supposed to be an elevated experience. I do want to point out, because I've seen a lot of very nonstop jokes about this on Twitter, that I thought it was clear that people can say, oh, it looks like that's where the Sims are going to go party. They're renderings. The bar isn't open yet. They haven't had a grand opening. There are no photos. So these are design renderings. Those are not real photos of the interior. Of course, like I thought I didn't have to say that, but apparently I do. So it's a multi-level bar, and it's between the Dominion area and the Rim. They're gonna have specialty cocktails. It's a cocktail bar. So the bottom floor is, I think, supposed to be they're calling it smart casual, but essentially no baseball caps, no sandals, no chanclas, no shorts. And then the top floor is going to be a more like cocktail lounge experience. So
sounds like the perfect Reinagel hangout.
Well, it probably will. I know, but you dress it. That's your dress up. Chanclas and shorts and a baseball hat. That's what Jason will go to church that way. I mean, that's
but said that it's not allowed. It's dressed.
Church? Wait, that's a new revelation.
What's that?
If a Jason goes to church, that's a new revelation.
Well, there's that too.
I couldn't think of a schwanky place, Maddy.
Is the roof not a church? There's one in the strip center. It's over there on the right.
Some might consider that a church.
It every now and then, daily. Anything else happening in the great city, Maddy?
We have openings, we have closings. Obviously, Splashtown closed in the fall. I think everybody's gone to Splashtown at least once in their life as a San Antonian. And I spoke to somebody who does these Urban X style paranormal investigations. And he goes to abandoned places throughout the country. He's based here in Texas, so most of it is in Texas. But he got to walk around Splashtown during December, and the photos that he took, if you look at them, they're on my Twitter, it looks like Splashtown closed years ago. Like, it's so amazing to see how quickly the site just decayed. There's still water in some of the pools. The tubes are still inflated, but it looks like something out of a horror movie. It's just kind of crazy to see this place that so many San Antonians have had so many memories since 1985. It's just kind of sitting there, rusting and withering away. It's supposed to become a car dealership, is what's been reported before, but the photos are kind of striking.
I love that kind of stuff, that paranormal stuff. I watch Ghost Adventures. That's my binge.
Really?
Yeah, I love Ghost Adventures. And so, man, I mean, because they're funny and they're chasing the ghosts around. And
sure,
I would love to go to Splashtown with this guy.
Well, to walk around, but not to get in that pool. Did you see some of those photos? I mean, that looks.
Wow.
I mean,
well, I can see some ghosts creeping around.
I'm not going to make jokes, but it kind of reminds me of what it was like when it was open. But I'm kidding. Maddy Skye, the food and culture editor of the San Antonio Express News. Your Twitter bio, Maddy, says undisputed taco queen. So yesterday on the show, tacos kind of took over the show. Okay. I want to get your opinion, your professional opinion as the undisputed taco queen.
I'm nervous.
On Dairy Queen tacos.
Oh, I think I saw some mention of that. I've never had a Dairy Queen taco, and I don't think I want to.
You've never had one?
Well, Maddy, then how can you be the undisputed taco queen if you've never had a Dairy Queen taco?
Because they're Dairy Queen tacos, or is it some type of like?
It's a crunchy taco. We're talking crunchy tacos, right? Not like.
I mean, it's the equivalent. It's equivalent to Taco Bell. Is essentially what it is.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's
Dude,
not.
I had one yesterday.
Dude,
Trust me.
Taco Bell tacos are stale. All right, Dairy Queen tacos are fresh with the lettuce and the cheese and the tomatoes.
It
and
sounds like a Taco
nice
Bell.
beef in there.
Yeah.
And the
beef?
crunch is the crunch is. Mwah.
So Monday we did our first show, and then Joe, of course, leaves the house to go to the TV station. Was worried about dinner. So Tuesday, I was like, "Well, what'd you end up doing?" So I went and got tacos from Dairy Queen. They're delicious. I had not ever met anybody that's ordered tacos from Dairy Queen. I love Dairy Queen. Steak fingers in the gravy or a blizzard. Tacos? No.
I like their chicken tenders. You know, I will say the Dairy Queen chicken tender commercials always leave me craving them. Like the way they fall and the crust just like breaks apart. But tacos, I didn't know that Dairy Queen had tacos.
Well, Maddy, I think really you should try them and have a review for us next week.
Maybe.
Will you do that? I mean, seriously, as a favor.
Joe Reinagel approves these tacos. We tried them.
I wanted to take his San Antonio card.
I know,
Yeah.
but then he liked them. Okay, that's the truth be told. He liked them.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, he
Let's
liked
be
them.
honest. They weren't awful. I was surprised, but I never said they were good. But again, if I'm at a Dairy Queen, tacos is the last thing I'm going to order.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean that's
because I can't be so pretentious. I did used to like back in the day some Jack in the Box. Those little smashed up tacos.
Well, right.
But again, though, but let's clarify. Back in the day, you were probably coming home from the bar, and it was dark outside, because they're great when the sun is not around, and you aren't 100% sober. That's the only time I know anybody that gets Jack in the Box tacos. And they used to be 3 for $1. Now they're 2 for $1.19. I shouldn't know that, but I do.
right.
And then again, because you might have the munchies, that's why you get the egg rolls there at Jack in the Box, because again, they're not bad, but you're not going to Jack in the Box because you want egg rolls. You add them onto the order.
I didn't know they had egg rolls either.
See, I didn't know that either. You're learning a lot today, aren't you, Maddy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's why she comes here for food and culture advice.
Her next segment, Dairy Queen tacos versus Jack in the Box.
It's definitely a palate cleanser for sure.
You'll need to do some cleansing after that. That's for sure. Maddy, always appreciate it. We'll talk with you next week.
Good to see you, Maddy.
Bye. Nice to see y'all.
Maddy Skye from the San Antonio Express News, as she joins us every Wednesday at 4:30 to give us the happenings of what's happening in town.